You're joking, aren't you? It's the Teesside Chef. Creamy, rich, satisfying Fettuccine Alfredo recipe today, and I decided to do this after reading that Hunter S. Thompson used to eat Fettuccine Alfredo as part of his daily routine. Now, this Looney Tune was the founder of the gonzo journalism movement, and author of books like Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, and his daily routine was so insane that I just had to bring that to you today, as well as the recipe, so sit tight because we're doing this. Starting with him getting up at 3 o'clock in the afternoon and starting with us getting a chicken breast, and we're going to give this a jolly good thrashing now until it's about 1.5 to 2 centimetres thick. And don't worry, if you want a vegetarian version of this recipe, just leave the chicken out, it makes no difference. And now back to Hunter at 3:05, Chivas Regal whiskey with the morning papers and a Dunhill cigarette. Nice start to the day at 3:05. So now this chicken has had a bit of a leathering. Let's season it generously on both sides with salt and pepper and some dried thyme and oregano. 3:45, cocaine. Starting early there, isn't he? I have a feeling this is going to get crazy. 5 minutes later, another shot of whiskey and another coffin nail. Anyway, let's cook the chicken now in a generously olive-oiled and preheated pan on a medium heat. And we're going to cook that for 3 minutes on this side, and once flipped, let's give it 3 minutes on the other side, and that should brown it nicely. 16:05, first cup of coffee and another cancer stick. Our chicken's had 3 minutes per side now, and let's flip it again, knock the heat down to very low and give it another 4 minutes with the lid on. This will finish fully cooking the chicken to an internal temperature of at least 165 Fahrenheit, that's about 75 Celsius-ish. 4:15, another line of dickhead dust. And the chicken's done now, so let's get it out and let the oil drip off it a tad. 16:16, orange juice and a death dart. And to ensure the very best chicken, you should ideally wrap it tightly in a sheet of baking paper to lock in that moisture, and we'll wrap that in foil now to keep the whole thing warm. And for me, it's important to wrap it in baking paper first before putting the foil around it, because we don't want that foil touching the hot meat, because that might release all sorts of horrible nasties into our system, mightn't it? Speaking of which, 4:30 and another line for Hunter. He's only been up for 90 minutes and he's already hit the nose candy 3 times. Anyway, we're going to crack on with the Alfredo part of this Fettuccine Alfredo recipe now, and that begins by chopping a medium onion finely, and while we're here, let's slice 125 grams or thereabouts of mushrooms if you're using them. Not magic mushrooms, just normal ones, unfortunately. 16:54, cocaine. 16:54 is an oddly specific time for your 4th hit of coke, isn't it? But this is the published official daily routine of the late lunatic. I have 75 grams of butter melting gently in a pan on a medium heat, and I'll lob the onion in there to soften it for a few minutes. 17:05, line number 5. I'm adding a tablespoon of minced garlic to my now soft onion, as well as a teaspoon each of dried oregano and dried thyme. And a tablespoon of lemon juice is really important, because that will cut through all the creaminess in this recipe and really lift the flavour. 17:11, coffee and more Dunhills, plural. And some of that creaminess is going in now. 125 millilitres of double cream. And if you're using mushrooms, let's add them in too as well. And it's 5:30, so Hunter needs more ice in his whiskey. He's having a great day so far. And I'm adding 200 grams of fettuccine pasta that's being cooked in salted water until it's about 90% done. And keep the pasta water that you cook the fettuccine in, because we'll need that in a bit. Another line of cocaine at 5:45. And by adding some of that reserved pasta water in now, we're loosening the creamy sauce a little, and we're allowing that pasta to cook a little more and absorb all those flavours from the sauce. And now we need a little bit of weed just to take the edge off, you know. And I'm having a little taste now and adding a little bit more pasta water. You want to season with salt and pepper to your preference, but go easy on the salt at first, because we're now adding 125 grams of finely grated parmesan cheese, and that can be quite salty. 7:05, Woody Creek Tavern for lunch. Heineken, 2 margaritas, 2 orders of fries, a plate of tomatoes, coleslaw, a taco salad, a double order of onion rings, carrot cake, ice cream, bean fritter, Dunhills, another Heineken, cocaine, and for the ride home, a snow cone made from crushed ice with a few shots of Chivas. And you can finish seasoning now everything's in the pan with plenty of pepper and your fresh herbs of choice. And things are getting interesting now with another line of marching powder, and at 10 o'clock, a tab of acid. And just as the acid is starting to kick in, a shot of chartreuse, more beak and weed at 11. And hey, this recipe's getting serious now because just look at the creaminess on that. It looks absolutely luscious, doesn't it? So let's have another line to celebrate. And to finish, I'm slicing this perfectly cooked moist chicken breast which has been relaxing and steaming in our little packet of joy we made earlier. Some people moan that chicken breast is dry, but that's absolute nonsense if you cook it properly. And you can see how juicy and moist that is. Midnight, and Hunter is ready to write. So for that process, of course, he needs chartreuse, cocaine, weed, Chivas, Heineken, clove cigarettes, grapefruit, Dunhills, orange juice and gin. And I also find that these substances help me write the scripts for these videos. Anywho, I'm trying to plate this up aesthetically now, but I'm not exactly nailing it. But no matter what a mess you make of the presentation, it always looks nicer with some fresh herbs on top. And you can add a little parmesan too, because we're finishing now with a nice relaxing dip in the hot tub with champagne, Dove bars and Fettuccine Alfredo. What a lovely day. 8 o'clock sleeping tablet and 8:20 sleep. Good night, everyone.